and gentlemen, and welcome to another podcast of the Jekyll and Hyde Show. You call this a podcast? Yeah, sure. What kind of show some know-it-all expert is going to tell us about some rubbish disease called schizophrenia? Today we will be discussing the mental illness that is known to many as schizophrenia, and the effects it has on the individual and community. The topics we will be discussing in this podcast is the nature of the illness, the symptoms and effects it has on the individual, and the treatments that are being implemented to help cure this illness. We will also be joined by Professor Yin Yang from the French University of Black Noir, who will provide statistical, qualitative and quantitative information on schizophrenia. Now how about we begin with discussing about what schizophrenia actually is. From recent discoveries and long-acquired research, schizophrenia is actually a mental illness that affects the body, creating what many believe is an alter ego, another personality, another human being with violent actions and thoughts. However, it is not actually a multiple personality disorder. Funny enough, for so many years, people believed it to be that exact thing. But it is all one personality. It is a disease that affects the brain, altering a person's ability to think, feel, and act.
Yeah, right. In actual fact, the other personality, or whatever it is actually a physical being, the leader, trying to come back to reality.
Professor, what are the actual causes of schizophrenia?
Well, Jekyll, the causes of schizophrenia are not fully understood, although it's likely to be a combination of hereditary and other factors. Some people, after constant research, that some newborns can have a weakness to develop this kind of illness, and certain things such as use of drugs, such as marijuana, can trigger their first episode.
So, what would you say the symptoms and causes are that associate with this illness?
Well, if you talk symptoms, you're talking about experiences, persistent symptoms called psychosis. Some of these symptoms include confused thinking, delusions, hallucinations, abnormal motor behavior, and other negative behaviors. So, from learning about the effects of this disastrous disease, what would you say are the treatments to reduce this particular illness? Well, Jekyll, treatment can do much to reduce and even eliminate the symptoms. Some of the treatments that can help prevent or treat this illness would consist of medication, psychological treatments, and community support programs.
So, is the safety within Australia's borders enough to protect its citizens? I mean, do you happen to have any statistical information as well for us that could help support that? That's right.
Well, globally, 1 out of every 125 people have schizophrenia, which is about 70 million people worldwide. So, in many cases, it's not the matter about Australia's safety and people who are facing these traumatic events, but the solutions in which people are trying to implement in order to stop this illness from occurring. Australia's safety within the borders is quite efficient and has been improving over time. However, governments need to take more initiative in the safety and well-being of the citizens.
So, what are the recent government health initiatives in regulation of schizophrenia?
Government initiatives to combat schizophrenia come in the form of supporting and providing funding for mental health foundations such as Beyond Blue, At Ease, and Headspace. The government's support of these organizations shows that they truly care about mental health by helping those who are suffering from mental health issues.
Well, I'm sure we've all learnt a lot about schizophrenia and its place in our society. I hope you as the audience think twice next time you're faced with someone who has mental illness, and display a greater level of understanding, tolerance and compassion. Look forward to speaking with you in our next podcast.
For anyone out there suffering from schizophrenia or another mental health issue, don't be afraid to call 1-800-985-944 or visit our website